This was Pearl Harbor in 1941. Welcome to Alternate History. Today, we're going over what if Japan didn't bomb Pearl Harbor in 1941. Number 1. Because the US was not bombed at Pearl Harbor by Japan, they don't fight in World War II in December 1941. Number 2. The Battle of Midway didn't happen, which, if you don't know, Battle of Midway was where American forces fought Japanese forces and basically became the naval turning point of the war, sending Japan crawling back to their own country. But, in this timeline, we didn't join the war, so something like that, because we weren't there. Number 3. In real life, Germany was conquering on the Eastern Front, but Russia stopped them because the US was providing resources to them. But in this world, the US isn't part of World War II, so they aren't providing resources to Russia, which means that Nazi Germany is able to do this. However, the German army gets stopped at the Ural Mountains because it's kind of hard to push an entire army over the mountains onto another army. So, this is where they kind of draw the line. Number 4. The US was not involved in World War II, so they never created Operation Torch, which was the plan to stop Germany from entering Africa. And since they weren't there to stop Germany, Number 5. With control of the Suez Canal, which was basically the place Britain took all their stuff from their colonies and transported it to themselves, Germany took control of that when they took control of Africa. So, they starved Britain, making them weak. Number 6. With Britain weakened, Germany pushes past them and takes control of the Middle East, the British island Malta, most of Spain, and all of Switzerland. They continued to trade with Sweden. Number 7. The US begins sending just enough resources to keep Britain from completely collapsing. Number 8. As Germany starts to spread their resources thin, controlling the companies they have captured, some of the countries revolt, but only Spain and a few smaller countries in the Middle East escape their grasp. The countries they have control of, further fueling their war machine. Number 10. After a 50-50 split in Congress for quite a while, the US finally decides to join World War II. But because Pearl Harbor hasn't happened, it has not gotten personal, so they don't go nearly as hard. Number 11. Germany focuses on controlling areas that provide crucial resources, letting go of most of the Middle East, keeping Iraq and Iran, and letting go of Switzerland as the residents had destroyed their own infrastructure. Number 12. The United States leaps in the rest of North America and South America, creating Fortress America. Number 13. As part of Fortress Americas, North and South America start supplying resources to the US in exchange for protection. However, Germany is worried about that, so they start stockpiling all the possible resources they can. Number 14. The US begins sending more support to Britain, and they are able to take back control of their island Malta and the rest of Africa. Number 15. The US begins funding the Manhattan Project. they feel they have much more time than they originally did in our timeline, so they create a much stronger and much more stable version of the atomic bomb. Germany attempts to do the same thing, but their stalemate in Europe slows down progress. Number 16. Japan worried about the US completing the atomic bomb, so they attempt to destroy their supply chains by attacking Canada and much of South America. But before they could get there, US shot them out of the sky. Number 17. The US completes their atomic bomb, and Germany panics. They attempt to scramble up extra defense, and the US sends warnings to Russia to get away from the German front while the Germans aren't paying attention. And then they send out powerful jets and giant Airbuses, dropping atomic bombs on major German troops, important supply chains, and Japanese cities like Hiroshima, Tokyo, Nagasaki, and Nagayo. Then they send in thousands of troops to capture Hitler and other Japanese leaders and German leaders. Number 20. Germany and Japan surrender, asking for a time and place to discuss a treaty. All parties agree on Paris, France. Numbers 21 through 23. The US demands that Germany be kept under close watch by the rest of Europe, and states that any form of militarily stocking up by Germany will be considered an act of war. They also demand that the Soviet Union be prevented from creating atomic weapons. The rest of the world is willing to cooperate on keeping Germany under close watch. However, they fear that the Soviet Union will get atomic weapons anyway, which is why they decide not to agree to that one. In the terms of the treaty, it is in accordance with keeping Germany under close watch, but they also include a clause saying that any act of aggression by the USSR will be considered an act of war against the world. All countries involved in the war agree to these terms. Number 24. Now that the war is over, the United States starts dismantling Fortress America a little bit, while still providing protection to the Americas and receiving resources from them. They take less resources and protect less. Number 25. The world slowly recovers from World War II. Number 26. The Geneva Convention meets with two goals. Number 1 was figuring out how to define war crimes, such as treating prisoners of war certain ways, not torturing people, and other things. But they didn't have as many ideas for that as in our timeline, because Canada wasn't in the front lines. However, it does include, this is number 2, a lot more guidelines for how atomic weapons are to be used, and who may create them. And finally, we never would have gotten the masterpiece film Pearl Harbor. However, we would have gotten a new movie called Okinawa, which would have had equally bad plot, equally bad history, and just as good of explosions. That's all for alternate history, and I'll see you next time. Bye.